This is the third video in the instructional guide on how to use the Pages Monitoring and Evaluation database. In the first video, we covered how to open the database, enable the content, and use the menu. In the second video, we entered data into Instrument 2A. In this third video, we are going to enter data into Instrument 3, the child learning form for students, which has the school scorecard data as well as some discussion data. So I'm going to click on the Instrument 3 button. You can see the form is similar to Instrument 2A, but it has some different fields. Because this data came from a focus group, there is a field for the date of the focus group. When you click in that field, a little calendar shows up on the right-hand side. If you click on that calendar, you can choose the date that you need to enter, and it will put it in the text box automatically. Note again that the database produces an ID that you can record on the paper form in case you need to refer back to it at a later date. Now I will enter my imaginary data, the interviewer name. In the second video, you'll remember that when we clicked on the drop-down menu for school name, it was blank. However, we entered a new school name into that list. Now when I click on the drop-down menu, School A, which we entered in Instrument 2A, is available for us to use. This tells the database that the data we're entering in Instrument 3 is from the same school as the data that we entered in Instrument 2A, and allows the database to produce reports that take data from both these instruments. I'm going to add the rest of my imaginary data. The focus groups that produce the data for Instrument 3 either have all male students participating or all female students participating. And so when we tell the database which group we are providing data for, so we will say we're providing data for female students, it automatically disables the text boxes for male student data. We'll enter 10 female students. The school scorecard data is divided into different criteria category, and each criteria has a checkbox next to it. And you simply have to click the checkboxes for the criteria that were met, and the database produces a total for the criteria category, and as we'll see at the end, also produces a total score. After each criteria category, there is a text box where you can enter information about changes since the last year. Keep on arbitrarily choosing checkboxes for our imaginary data. And here you can see the total criteria score as well as the qualitative score that is associated with that. These boxes here are for the discussion data. Because this is a discussion that took place between female participants, the boys' student text boxes are disabled, but the girl boxes are enabled. Now I'm just going to copy the same data into all of the boxes. Obviously, if you were entering real data, it would be different based on the question that was discussed. Now I have entered all of the data that is required for this form, so I can click on Entered New Form to save the data. These navigation buttons at the top of the form, if you're not entering data into a form, i.e. you're looking at a blank form, allow you to look at previous entries you've made. So if I click on Previous Entry, this is the data that I've just entered. I've only entered one record, so that's as far back as I can go. But if I had more records, the previous and next entry buttons would allow me to move back and forth between the data we had already entered. I can also go back to the menu. That concludes the third video. In the fourth video, we will look at one of the non-school forms, the Instrument 7 income generation form.